On December 15th, 1966, Kirk played Battleship vs. Submarine in Balance of Terror and established one of the biggest villains of the series in the Romulans. On May 26, 2022, Pike played a similar cat-and-mouse game and set up the Gorn as the potential new big bad. I'm Gayfesh, and today we'll be talking Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Episode 4, Memento Mori. But before we get started, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. There will be spoilers, but I'm not going to lay out the whole plot, just pick out my major takeaways from what is an absolutely stellar space combat episode. First things first, we do not see the Gorn. We see their ships, but we do not get to see the rubber lizards with compound eyes yet. This honestly is the best move from a couple different standpoints. It has that Hitchcockian vibe of your imagination is scarier than the monster, while strongly suggesting that we have definitely not seen the last of the Gorn. I'd put money on them returning for the Season 1 finale with the face reveal. I do have a slight worry in how the Gorn are being built up, that they're going to be too similar to Firefly's Reavers, but considering that La'an is convinced they are a race of pure evil and that this is Star Trek, I am sure we will get a proper subversion in due time. Speaking of subversions, this show deliberately plays on audience expectation of the red shirt phenomenon, where Chief Kyle in the red shirt tries to drag a blue shirt through a corridor before the bulkheads close. Convention would expect that the blue shirt gets through the door first and then it closes on Kyle, but instead, the blue shirt recognizes he won't make it in time and shoves Kyle through the door first. I have a couple of things to nitpick in this episode. For starters, at one point in the battle, they mention that one of the nacelles is damaged, so they only have half impulse. But the nacelles have nothing to do with impulse engines. They generate the warp field. The impulse engines are located here, at the back of the saucer. Second, for much of this episode, they hide in the atmosphere of a brown dwarf, which is depicted as having dark brown clouds. Now, this is not unreasonable. Jupiter has brown clouds, but I get the feeling the VFX team heard brown and was like, got it, without knowing what a brown dwarf actually is. It's a gas giant massive enough to generate sporadic core fusion and emit low levels of light, basically halfway to a star. Third, the brown dwarf is being consumed by a black hole at a rate of mere hours. Now, this is not impossible. It could be a rogue black hole passing through the system, but more likely, this would be a process that takes years, decades, perhaps millennia. Most of the cast gets split off into their own B and C plots, with Uhura and Hemmer learning to cooperate and rely on each other's senses and expertise, and M'Benga and Chapel trying to stitch up Una as the biobeds are non-functional. The main focus this episode is La'an, who is attempting to avoid drudging up memories of her own trauma until she realizes that there could be vital information in there. So she has Spock mind meld with her to pull out information on how Gorn communicate ship to ship using Morse code style light pulses. She even uses this knowledge to trick the lead Gorn ship into blowing up one of the others. The battle ends with a fun trick called the Pike Maneuver, where the ship passes close enough to the event horizon of the black hole that it leaves a residual image behind, tricking the Gorn into thinking they fell into the accretion disk and blew up. The Enterprise limps on to fight another day, albeit with the loss of 3 civilians and 7 crew. So what did you think of the episode? Leave a comment down below.
I like how Uhura is doing rotations in departments other than communications. Sets up her Starfleet training as being well-rounded.
Be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and share the video with your friends. Subscribe to my Patreon to get shouted out in future videos. Check out my Bandcamp for banging tunes, including all the tracks you heard in this video. Follow me on Twitter at GayestFesh, and don't forget to check out my podcast, The Rest of Both Worlds, where I go through Star Trek The Next Generation with a friend who's never seen it. Thank you to all my patrons, with a special shout out to Piftle Cakes and Renee Vorbeck. Your support is greatly appreciated. See you all in the next video.